Gotta keep the swivel on out here with these devils. Out here in white society, the projects is right down the street, and the lap of luxury is not even a half mile away. This shit is like a plantation. I'm in Troy, New York. Shout out, brothers. This is Mr. X. It's in my pocket. X Sports Revolutionary. X Speaks. X on X on X. Rural suburb, Lansingburg / Troy, New York. Just left the projects and right down the street. Y'all see this, man. It's the new shirt I had gotten. These with the ancient. No, nobody's here yet. I should play music. The radio edited music. I don't know if they'll strike it. I get a lot of attention. I did a video and was talking about I couldn't upload the photo. It was a photo of me. Crazy as hell. What was that, y'all? I'm trying to get back in shape. Trying to get back in shape. You know what I'm saying? Get back to my former glory. I've been as big as 235 pounds. Shit is slipping. So I get another car. Your brother been working. Working. That's why I haven't been on for X Sports. So like Keith said, I just go on when I can. I like to give a good hour. Y'all know how I do. So before I go pick up a fare, we all try to be entrepreneurs out here. So try to do our own thing. Get that beast. Gotta have your own revenue. Give my mama. God bless my mama. Like I said, I told her I'm gonna be a radio host. Speak truth to power. God bless her. She's right. First thing you should secure is your own economic base. You gotta be able to feed yourself and your family. Because I'm not gonna wait for that. I'm gonna speak and let the chips fall where they may. They always use money over our heads to silence us. You know what I mean? Because they talk about the silent majority. I believe there's enough brothers and sisters who, if they believe you're sincere, will support you in your revolutionary endeavors. Um, it's hard to be consistent because I have a growing family, and maybe if I was alone, you know, I could put more time into it. But I'm at the age where I need a family. These are all the images that need to be portrayed to the community. Especially brotherly and everything. They're always there. I can't be at everything. But they can. Relationship building, love people. And that's a talent nowadays. Because as I'm running home, people become very reserved. Every time I'm driving or I'm doing a live, I start messing with my connection. They said once I start talking to someone within the first 4 minutes, they tell me they love white folks in one shape, form, or fashion. I don't know if I bring it out of them. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. But in some way, shape, form, or fashion, they'll boast uh, their love affair right now in the society. And I share not those sentiments. So it becomes awkward. But I've gotten used to it, and I just presume that most blacks and white, when they're around them, you can tell. You know, I've only had, I won't even call them associates, but those are people, business and athletics. They do that. So we never hung out, drank a beer or anything like that. They want me to do that, but you know, through my lifetime, I've never really been comfortable around white folks, even though my first son is biracial. Like, there was never a comfort there. There was just this weird energy, you know what I'm saying? So I always much rather have a contingent of black folks I can hang around with. And I established that in my years in college. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, Auburn actually has a large contingency of black people, large enough where you don't have to be around white folks at all. But it's very hard to avoid them being all. Like when we say, you look at the 9 areas of people activity dominated by white supremacists, mainly who deals with, right? On a more secular level. There's a white woman in front of all these things. Anything, any resources, any benefits that black people try to acquire, whether social services, jobs, health insurance, restaurant business, anything, white woman in front of them. White man uses his woman very strategically, and you're not going to be able to get anything without going through a white woman. And it's hard because of that cultural gap, and we have these needs, these absolute needs that need to be established right away. You know, in the social service, people need things right then. And you're dealing with a soulless culture who don't empathize what they need to already, and they go around all these stereotypicals of black, which they propagate regularly in conversations when we're not around. So you got all the stereotypes there in front of them, so people believe all black people like this. That's why I say shit like you're not like the others. They feel comfortable saying that. And our people will be in this with most likely our sisters will be in there just angry and enraged and things like that. And they would just look at them like, security. One office is connected to New York. There's 2 cops there. And in Albany, there is no police officer. There's a guy up front, but you know, they let you know what region you're in. Because you go a building in one area and it's pretty solemn, and then you go to another area and you got a large police presence. You're like, oh, it must go down here on regular. It must go down for real here. But what I wanted to talk about, but you see the title Urkel Dance. And it spoke to my spirit because one, Buck Breaking came out. I got my DVD, but I ain't got it yet. I bought it. And I may have a private screening because I like to shake up the water. My group represents the radical side of politics here. We're a very small contingency. And so I got to continue to shake the pot. I'm on the white list. The Negroes not to mess with. If you want to go up the social economic ladder around here, don't associate with me. I'm very proud of being on that list. I'm working to be #1. I think showing this video will be #1. I just got to find out where. I don't want to show it at my house. I'm going to show it at my house. I'm trying to figure out where I can show private screening and have a discussion of Buck Breaking because, we got a man in this area. Niggas walking around with dresses and wigs and hair, and it's in my area. Yeah, I got this drag queen at least 3 times to take him somewhere. big old fake booty. And there's one dude here who got the whole transformation. I mean, the whole thing. I talked to the sisters, and they confirmed that a lot of these guys practice closet homosexuality, and during sexual endeavors, so-called sisters, I do way back, during sexual adventures, say, promiscuous, never really had a relationship, kind of loopy. What these guys like done to them, and it's most times they're playing with the haters. And guys that I know, because if there's someone walking around proclaiming to be straight, they're gonna out them. You know, nowadays it's the safest time to be gay now. I mean, they are in y'all own world. So the doors open and all that. Which leads me to Jaleel White, title character Steve Urkel. And you know, the history of Family Matters, they would think he was a composite character. The show was supposed to be about a family, black family, a blue collar type of Cosby show, right? So Cosby Show Part 2, all the same characters basically. Shout out to Mary Jo Payne, beautiful black sister. She wasn't as fine as me, so shout out. I'm just gonna say that. That's my mama. Isabel Johnson, not as handsome as Bill Cosby, but that was the point. Laura knocked out all the kids. Laura was bad. She knocked them all out by herself. That's what you had, basically. A strong ass, we'll call it Cosby show. So Urkel comes in, I think, the third or fourth episode because Laura wanted to date, and father Carl Winslow, played by Bill Johnson, was rumors about him and his sexual. The character decides to get a blind date, and he gets Steve Urkel. And the kid comes in and just takes it over. Jaleel talked about how he auditioned for the character. He went over the top. He made it his own. He was supposed to be a nerdy kid. He said, I'm going to go and go all the way like this. The way it was written was not how he brought it to life. And a lot of these characters are like that. These Jews are writing, these Miller boy, yeah, these Jews write these stories about black people. And then it's incumbent upon us to kind of bring it to life because we didn't have a culture that is disconnected to the African experience. Writing about Africa, they know it's accepted. They know it's subjugation. They know from dominance. They know that we have two faces. One face when we're around you, and one face when we're around each other. And so they're writing the narrative of how blacks are supposed to be. Recall in the 70s, even in black exploitation, it was these dive ass, large clothes, hats, like taken seriously. Funky ass terminology that became stereotypical for whites when they talk about us in terms of our dialogue, black to black dialogue. They're always 15 years behind. They say words that maybe 2 generations ago. You know, that's the way that the slightest always kind of slap us in the face, overhand slap right in your face. And even though they were a good, upstanding family, they were not revolutionary, they were not strong, and they were not a group of people that resisted, even when they had shows about racism. There was only one where Laura tried to get a Black History course, and it was going to find people who signed petitions and whatnot. And then one of the white students had wrote nigger on her locker, and and she was upset, and black students was fighting the white students and all that shit, which is pretty much cool. I mean, you know, the brothers on code. But at the end, grandmother told the civil rights story where she went to the library and they kicked her out, and she kept going back and going back and going back. And she loves to read, and she was going to read no matter what, because it was only one library in town, and I was going to read. She kicked me out. Lord love me. And so finally, the white people was allowed me to stay in there because I was so transfixed and inquiring with the literature that we have to God. And there was, you know, applause from the crowd. So we know how they do racism. The same thing with the cop. Eddie got pulled over and rousted by a racist cracker cop. And so Carl went in front of them and all that. But did I say because I'm like, oh yeah. Did I do that? That's funny to white folks. It was never funny to me. Like never funny. I don't understand why they laugh so hard and why they laugh every time he said it. You know, it's kind of dynamite. You know, they like that goofy shit. It's called J.J. Evans' character that played him. Big cool. They taught him how to say the line. He was like, yo, you gotta settle. You gotta I don't mind. You gotta put your back in it. Say, no, give it more. You know, and Hollywood Shuffle, brother Robert Towns, another cool. When he did Hollywood Shuffle, he dealt with the fact that these white people are telling blacks to over exaggerate their movements and their language and shit like that, and because they really want to put it out there. So like, you're not doing. Okay, sorry about that, y'all. My phone heated up. So what was I saying? So yeah, they write these characters and they gotta over exaggerate. You basically look like a fool. It's a dehumanization tactic, and it works very well. They put you in an economically deprived community, and they have special rules. They got rules for whites, but they got special rules for blacks. You're gonna have to humiliate yourself to get to where you want to go. If you look at Kevin Hart has done almost 200 to 300 easy, dehumanizing, disrespectful things to our culture. I mean, from getting laid down on a car and humped by Shaq, to being put in dresses. He has no problem with that. To kissing a man on the man will do anything. Any comedian ever. I mean, the man has got to see anything. One, I like to see different brothers share the spotlight. So we know the comedy game is fickle. A guy be hot for 3 or 5 years, it'd be his time, and then the next guy comes in. And so it's never good for one guy to dominate. Even Eddie Murphy stepped away so that others can have that opportunity. He can sit in the back and kind of make his bread this way and that way and whatnot, but allow other comedians to kind of shine. You see the Cat Williamses and stuff like that. And they all appreciate it. You know, when you talk about people that put them on, that didn't close the doors, that's why they like Steve Harvey, because Steve Harvey never put anybody on. And that's the type of cracker, nigga that white folks like. Ooh, you just about yourself. You know, you just about yourself. And he did some great things in the past, like I said, assisting Dr. Khalid Muhammad. But because that's just that revolutionary springboard. Everybody, Maxine Waters did the same thing. Everybody got that revolutionary springboard where they will one that the black grassroots admires and respects, right? So that's on their resume, and then they get the coonie. So the defenders will be like, "Oh, he helped you, you call it." Same thing with Ice Cube. You got Ice Cube, Steve Harvey, and Maxine Waters. 3 people. Khaled is dead. 3 people still kind of living off of that. They're still living off that. And you can backstab anybody. You can help Jesus. You can help niggas. If Jesus wanted some water and he was hungry, you went and got him some food and got him some water, and then somebody took a picture and said, "This is me giving Jesus water and food" when he was hungry, and then at the same time go to the Romans and say, "Yeah, Jesus right down the street." Then he dies. Then we find out later that you set him up. Yeah, nigga, you a turco, you a backstabber. But what they do is they'll just live off that instance where they assisted the brother, and then on film during that time he'll tell a story validating them. Khaled told the story about Steve Harvey, and he said Steve Harvey was going to host the Million Youth March, and it was Khaled that told him, "No, don't do that, brother. You're on your way. We don't need you to do that. We don't need you to do that. I don't want to ruin your career." Because Khaled was going toe to toe with them Jews on a regular basis. He was going at the top motherfuckers. And so if Harvey did that shit, you would not see him here today. And trust and believe they know, because he wrote a check. He was counting every dollar. One day they'll pull that check up. Yeah, I mean, pull shit. You know how crackers do. They'll pull some shit up from there. That was in '99. They'll pull that shit up like it was yesterday, nigga. New information. Steve Harvey apparently wrote a check to Dr. Khalid Muhammad in the 1999 Million Youth March. At the time, Khalid Muhammad was the #1 anti-Semite and had some very disparaging things to say about Jews. Wrote some clip of Khalid Muhammad, and then now Steve Harvey got to denounce Khalid Muhammad and all that shit and this thing. And it's gonna be glorious when it happens. It's gonna be glorious. You're gonna start backflipping and backpedaling and moonwalking, and they got all types of rope for niggas. But anyway, to get back to Steve Urkel, because we know the buck breaking process, the Hollywood, the demonism and the devilishness and what the devil worship and the bloodletting and all that. We know all that stuff. We deal with that on a regular basis on Keith and Zoe deals with that on a regular basis on Black Hot Fire Network during the day. But there's that dress. My man, what's my man name? God damn, Brandon T. Jackson. I thought he was on his way. Funny little guy. He was on Tropic Thunder, where you had a white man playing blackface, Iron Man, and then you had Brandon T. Jackson being a rapper who was gay. So he was an entrepreneur. He understood his people, and I think he fought for that in his character. But the compromise was, yeah, you take it up the ass. And you like Jew white boys. So he said, when he put on the dress in Big Mama house, and Cat Williams had said on stage, he said, "Bro, don't put on the dress." I don't think he actually had a conversation with him. He just said it during the comic strip, and he has shown the clip. And Brandon at first thought he was throwing shade at him because Brandon was moving up, and he like, "Yo, you supposed to help me out, bro. You supposed to, you know what I'm saying? You supposed to be a guy that's supposed to be a guider and a mentor. You know what I mean? Because you gone at it with certain cats that really want to open the door for you, and you still here. So we know the game and things like that." But then he realized what he was trying to do. He was giving him the game. He was mentoring him. Don't put on the dress, bro. Don't put on the dress. And he said his life was a living hell afterwards. And now I think he is an Israelite. Brandon T. Jackson. I think he's an Israelite or something like that. He has nationalistic faith. He took a picture with Rizza Islam a few years ago. He wears, different garbs. It looks like Yahweh ben Yahweh a little bit. Take that for what you want, but he's out the game. That's for sure. But Jaleel White had done a recent interview, and he talked about his experience as Murder Urkel. This was a character that was the cousin of Steve Urkel. And so it's just having some goofy girl play his cousin. They put him in a dress. And he said he had knocked it out. And Jaleel was very creative in adding things to his character. They kind of, in these rooms, they just come up with ideas, and then as it is agreed upon, you got to come make it to life. You got to bring it to life. And so he did that.
Myrtle from a character perspective was right up there with Jamie Foxx's Wanda, Martin Lawrence's Shanae, right there in terms of having this is a caricature of a female. You know this is a man playing a woman, but he's bringing something to it that's hilarious. So she had a thing on for Eddie, uh, Darius McCray, and she would come back periodically. But at this time, remember, these are children, right? And they have to obviously get consent from parents. Now, when you go through this process, as Jaleel White was a child actor. He was in commercials as early as I think 6, so he had been in the business for a little bit. Now, a lot of times they leave certain things out when dealing with the business because they give interviews, and all of them kind of gives interviews, but they don't really divulge too deeply because they're kind of still in it, you know. So they don't want to be deemed as a whistleblower or a troublemaker. You know, you get that white mark on your forehead. So he said he knocked it out. He was ecstatic initially about, portraying the character so well and everybody being pleased. But at the end of the day, he went home and cried. He was told by the parents, Joe Mary Payton, Harriet Winslow, and Carl Winslow, Reginald Vale Johnson, they had reservations of black males wearing dresses. Interestingly enough, Reggie, with the speculations of him being gay, also wore a dress in the show. As a matter of fact, everybody portrayed a female that was male in that show. Everybody did. They even had a white man do it. So everybody wore dresses. Now we know the white man that's their culture of cross dressing and all that. Actually, boy J. Edgar Hoover. But we talking about our men. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. My ass. I'm good. I'm African anywhere I go. Any and everywhere I go. I'm gonna be African. If you want to be a faggot, cool. You be a faggot over there. I'm good. I'm not with that shit. But in any case, he said he cried. Now his father, he said his father was strong and endearing, and he said, he's seen his son, the suffering of his son. This is the importance of having fathers in the home. He was strong, and he said, "Yo, nah, never again. You got your one time. I see my son is hurt and devastated. I feel a way about this as well. We ain't doing this no more. You got your one time. That's it." So that was it for Myrtle Oker for the time being, because again, you in Hollywood, and the people that have the keys to control, to success, and influence, and economic sovereignty, is the white man, the white Jew, gay faggot. And no black man is not gonna come to him face to face and tell him, "Yo, you're not gonna do this with me, or you're not gonna do this with my son." They're like, "Nigga, I own you. We have a contract. We have a deal." But as Neely Fuller told us, this is a prison anyway, and you're a prisoner, and I'm representation of the warden. There's nothing you can do. If I want this done, it will get done. And so even though Jaleel White told that endearing story, and the rest of I didn't see the rest of the video. I would love to see the rest of the interview, but I was a fan of Family Matters. I watched damn near every episode. When he got old and shit, and it was just like, dude, he's still trying to sound like the kid. You like 45 years old. This is not really cool anymore. And then Laura, after 8 years of chasing this nigga, Laura finally gave him the pussy, and I lost. Part of the funny part was him getting dubbed by her, and then occasionally she'd kiss him or something like that, and then go back to dubbing him and all that. That was part of the fun. But eventually he got with her and all that. It was just like, all right, this is weird. This is gay. This is not funny no more. But I was a fan of the show. And so I know he played Myrtle Oker again several times. And I want to say he played it a few times as a minor. Then when he became an adult, he played it a few more times. So when he tells the story of the Huff and Puff daddy, raw like a lion, he said, "Okay, we're going to put it away for a minute." And if you look up the episodes of Family Matters, you will find that this to be true. That Urkel, Myrtle Urkel, made several appearances on the show, played by Jaleel White. So the teachings weren't fully inculcated. You see, that discussion was there, but they didn't go deep into it. And then again, when they corner you, I've seen this all the time with these racial incidents in universities. Something will occur of racial overtones, and somebody is assaulted or cursed or called a racial slur. It'll reach local media and then sometimes national media. There'll be uprise within the student body, and then they organize, and then they're meeting, and then they're protesting, and they're doing interviews, and then demanding things. And all these universities got protocol. They got protocol. They know how it's done. And I've talked to two lead activists in two different campuses. I was lucky enough to call them. And I told one, and this is like 4 or 5 years ago, I told them one exactly what was going to happen. And everything I said, she agreed. I said, you're going to be the man. You're going to be put in front, and you're going to have the fire. You're going to be saying all the right things. Then bit by bit, they're going to isolate you. They're going to isolate you. White folks around you are going to start compromising. They're going to start controlling things. They're going to start talking more. I seen a protest they had out there. I think it was a Cobble skill that somebody said, I'm in the mood to lynch a nigger. And they took a picture of a noose. So the lead activist out there was some sassy ass nigga with skinny jeans. Talking about, we ain't having that. Nah, you know. I'm like, uh-oh. This shit might be doomed. And then they were walking, because I seen a live video. They were just walking. It's cold, man. When we gonna stop? This just happened during the winter months. The administration know what's gonna go down. They know you got a week or two, maybe, especially depending on how cold it is, and where it happened. It's out further north in New York. So it was freezing out there. And so I'm keeping tabs from Albany, thinking about going out there, but it's a 5-hour drive. I'm like, this is when I had my first baby. And we only had one vehicle, and so I was leery of leaving because my wife, now I would do it because she's comfortable with being with the children. But it's our first baby, and, it's like, she's like 4 or 5 months old, and, she's like, nah. She, wasn't ready for that just yet. And you gotta be leery with them small towns. You gotta go out there with 4 or 5 brothers. You gotta go out there with 4 or 5 brothers, and you got to go with a couple cars. You got to, organize, which is, it's nothing. It's something that needed to be done. But I ended up staying put and just watched from afar. I talked to the sister. She was lead. And they isolated her, looked at a transcript. Hey, you want to do this, and this is your major and all these things. Be best for you if you cease and desist all this stuff. You don't want this to be a mark on your record. You don't want this to follow you. You don't want this to stop you and prevent you from being getting a job. We're great references, you know what I mean? And they start narrowing her in, and everybody else around her is saying the same thing. And there's always a female. It's very rarely brothers. I've dealt with a few things in college campuses, and it's always females. And the brothers are nowhere to be found. Big, strong ass niggas in these fraternities are useless. Fucking useless. Nowhere to be found. And they leave these sisters by themselves to deal with these things. And so, I say that to say that that's probably what happened to Jaleel White. You don't want the Urkel brand to go, man. I mean, I think he had a cartoon, he had commercials, he had a doll, clothes. He was the most known figure in the 90s during that time. It was him versus all them little white kids they had out there. It was just Urkel versus them, and he was whooping their ass. He was whooping their ass. And they probably told him, look, nigga, look, I know you enjoy all this stuff. You got success that you've been hoping and praying for. We don't want this disagreement here. Because you know how they do. When you tell them no, they like, oh, he's difficult. Or they put him on a white list. Like they did with our sister, the comedian Monique. Oh, she's difficult to work with. She's sassy. Say, we don't want that. We don't want that, Jaleel. You don't want that to follow you. And you're like, no, I don't want to do that. But you really got no other pilots, a few movies, but he was typecast. Every time people saw him, they saw him as Urkel. Even when he played Stefan Urkel, the smooth ass, cool dude, came in that motherfucker with the suit on all the way down. You know what I'm saying? Straight up player with his. Played the hell out of that. I don't know if that was his actual person or whatever. He knocked it out the man is extremely talented, but never got an opportunity to show the full range of his talents because we don't control Hollywood. Our talented people don't get the play that they deserve. Now, there is a more entrepreneurial, independent spirit in filmmaking now that people are utilizing YouTube and making their own films and putting them out and developing a following that way. It's kind of off the grid, underground, similar to the blaxploitation film. And I think there's a renaissance of that, except it's all our material, and we control it completely. You know what I'm saying? So don't wear a dress. That's my message to y'all. Y'all got sons and y'all want to be in Hollywood and all that because, bruh, I mean, we conscious, right? But when it comes to our kids, it really shows how conscious you are. It really shows that. The brothers and sisters that hit you with the high science, they take their kids to any white school they can find and get as far away from niggas as possible. Know all the science, read all the books, all that shit. Know it all. I've seen it. I've seen it. A brother that used to organize in a much better vein than I did. I've yet to have a conversation. We've been around each other and never had a conversation. And they say he's shy. I ain't got no time for no shy niggas. What the fuck It's kind of a recluse. How you organizing and you reclusive? I don't get that. That don't make no sense. Like you unapproachable, you know? And he had a son that played ball. I'm known around here for playing, and I could have trained him, and he could have hired a brother and all that. We got to practice what we preach, because in those books it says that. Communal economics, right? Cooperative economics, Ujima, having a dollar circulate, working with one another. If we have services or be able to provide services, to use the services of your brother and compensate him for a job well done, which would allow me to be more aggressive in my speech because I'm able to serve the community, live off the community, and as long as I continue to serve the community, the resources will come. I'm not trying to buy no motherfucker. I'm trying to get a damn Yukon, not to be a pimp going to Florida or going to different cities as a little guy getting this big ass car and want to fill my car up with women. I got all these goddamn kids. I got all these kids. I'm 6'6", 240 pounds, 235, 230 pounds. Fluctuate, 220. I need a big car. I'm a big man. I have big children. I have a big wife. We big up in this motherfucker. You know what I mean? My ideal of a trip or a vacation is to go to a straight Black Pride convention. Eventually want to go to Africa once I get some of this shit cleaned up. Go to Africa with the family, different parts of nations and stuff like that. And evolving in the consciousness. When niggas around here say they evolve, that means they want to fuck with white people. They want to be close to white people. They want to be around white people. They're more tolerant of white people. I'm talking about evolving, learning more about our history, learning more about the legitimate science, what is actual real, what is actual fact, things of that nature, expanding that mindset, and then that would assist me in all things of that nature, expanding that mindset, and then that would assist me in organizing and assist me with waking up the people. You know what I'm saying? So you know, Jaleel probably lived a lifestyle. It's safe to assume that all the entertainers in the entertainment world have divulged themselves in those type of behaviors, and eventually we'll have more and more people brave enough to tell us, you know, the things that are going on um, in Hollywood and what they're making our people do. And we have to create an entity that is not that, and we have to be careful because they read that. These white folks watch. They watch. They always watch them. They watch our network. They shut down networks. They harass and harangue people. They report all sorts of things. So they'll also create something like a Fox Soul. We say, hey, we want black media. We want real black media. And the real black media is whooping their ass. And so they say, okay, we'll make a black media for you. Fox Soul. See, you got that. You got Fox Soul now. And you got black media. Now it's connected to Fox. All right. So you're watching it and you see the same bullshit you see on BET. Same gossip bullshit. You have the male anchors who are sassier than the motherfuckers, so you don't have no strong black male presence. The women are old and haggard and over the hill. Shout out to my sisters. I love your sisters. I love my sisters. But the representation that they're giving, the presentation that they're giving, it's just bad, and we don't even see it. We don't even see it. So it's liberal at best, uh, uh, and they try to use certain people in the conscious communities to validate the channel, and it's still not working. It's still not going to work. And so it's important for us to control, especially the media apparatus. We must control the media apparatus, and our combined strength is can match a CNN or world news, because we know that most people still watch the news very heavily on their telephone, not on their telephone, on their television in their living room. There's a large contingent of white folks who get their media and information, large contingent of black folks who get their media information from local news and or CNN. They watch the news all day long. That group has not died off yet. Who knows when that's going to occur? But we got to combat that. We have to go to the black middle age and the black youth. We have to patch up some things. We cannot allow youths next to us or around us to become coons. We have to change the paradigm. You know what I mean? There was a time that Jaleel was a child. It was a perfect opportunity to say, man, let me give you some game. Or actually, you are dependent, so there's only so much game I can give you. Let me have conversations with your parents. And as you get older and you get to that point of, and he's 18 now, he's a grown man now. I'm a unleash. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna unleash. So that is to help to protect them. You know what I mean? Because we're gonna have these contradictory messages between the parents and those whom are real advisors and mentors. You know what I'm saying? And not trying to get not bussy chasers, not little boy bussy chasers. You know, you gotta let them know they gonna want your bussy. They gonna make it into a bussy. You have an anal cavity that it excretes waste when the body needs to remove waste from its body. They're gonna try to turn it into a sex organ. And your actual sex organ you're not gonna want to use. Cash out MisterxR if you want to support. Thank y'all for listening and watching and share. Support Blackout Fire Network. Support your brother. Go to get your hand in my pocket. Eventually, I'm gonna do a sit down. I gotta get my wife to do something to the damn computer, so I gotta set all that back up again because I want to do a real sit down show. I just don't know exactly what I want to do it about. But yeah, your brother trying to get back in shape. I'm trying to lose my gut. And then my face got big. But for those who got a lot of children, it's par for the course. All right, y'all. Love y'all, man. Y'all stay up. Peace.